All right, let me ask you something. What if a machine could teach itself to master a 1,500-year-old game in just 4 hours? I mean, become better than any human ever.
Yeah, and that's exactly the story that kicks off the book, The Age of AI. And, it's about so much more than just a game of chess. We're talking about a fundamental shift in what intelligence even is.
I mean, when Gary Kasparov, who, let's be honest, is probably the greatest chess player of all time, says the game has been shaken to its roots, you really have to pay attention. But the amazing part isn't just that a computer won, it's how it won. And that's what introduces this really profound idea of a new, almost alien kind of intelligence. Okay, so let's get into it. Chapter 1 really breaks down what makes this new kind of AI so radically different from anything we've ever created. So, the story of AlphaZero it's just mind blowing. Imagine this: a program from DeepMind gets fed only the basic rules of chess. That's it. No human strategies, no famous old games, nothing. It just plays against itself. And after only 4 hours, it becomes the most powerful chess playing thing on the planet, period. And that right there is the fundamental shift. The AI we all grew up with was basically like a super fast calculator. We fed it all the human knowledge. This new AI, it learns completely on its own. So its advantage isn't just about being faster. It's about discovering a kind of logic that is totally new to us. Right, and this proves we're way beyond just playing games. In 2020, an AI found a brand new antibiotic. How? It saw patterns in molecules that human scientists had just completely missed. It literally found a cure we didn't even know how to look for. So, how do you even begin to wrap your head around this new age? Well, the book's authors argue you can't just look at it from one angle. You need a statesman, a technologist, and an academic. It really takes all those different points of view just to start grasping how massive this change really is. Okay, moving on to chapter 2, this is where things get really big picture. The authors don't just see this as another tech trend. No, they frame it as a historical shift on the same level as the Enlightenment. I mean, that is a huge claim. Yeah, and this timeline just lays it out so clearly. For centuries, we understood the world mainly through faith. Then, bam, the Enlightenment comes along and puts human reason right at the center of everything. The book's big argument is that AI is now introducing a third way of knowing the world, a new kind of logic that exists right alongside faith and reason. Exactly. So the takeaway here is that this isn't just a tech upgrade. It's way bigger. It's a full-on philosophical transformation. It's challenging that whole human-first worldview that we've had for, the last 400 years? Which leads us right into chapter 3. This is where the book takes all this big, abstract, historical stuff and brings it right down to earth, into our daily lives. Just think about your day to day. That social media feed you were scrolling through this morning, the show that Netflix just knew you'd love, the route your map app picked to get you home. AI is already this invisible partner, It's shaping tons of our little decisions every single day. And most of the time, we don't even notice. But it's not all about streaming shows and finding the fastest route. The very same ideas that let AlphaZero dominate chess, they're now being used for things like military aircraft and national security. We are literally building autonomous systems that can operate in these super high-stakes situations without a human in the loop. And this quote from the Financial Times review really just hits the nail on the head. This isn't just a new tool we've invented. It's something that is seriously testing the limits of what we can even understand, and it's challenging our whole sense of who we are and what we control. And that brings us to the final part, chapter 4, which the book calls simply the human question. For centuries, we've defined ourselves by our ability to reason. I think, therefore I am, right? But what happens to us? What makes us special when a machine can basically do that same thing? Who are we, really, when reason isn't just for humans anymore? The book lays out this new human-machine partnership, and honestly, it's a little unsettling. It goes like this. We humans set the goal. The AI goes off and works in this logical space that we can't even really access to find the best answer. And then we're left on the outside, looking in, trying to figure out how it got to that answer. It's like we're becoming students of the things we've built. And that's where a huge risk comes in. The authors ask a really important question. As these systems get smarter and more accurate than us, are we just going to start blindly trusting them? Are we going to stop asking questions and, basically hand over our own judgment? So the book's ultimate point is that we just can't sit back and watch this happen. We're standing right on the edge of a completely new era, and we have a choice to make. We can either get swept away by the technology, or we can step up and actively create a philosophy, a set of ethics, to make sure it's guided by our values.
Yeah, the book is really just a huge call to start a global conversation, and it's one we absolutely need to be having right now, at the very start of all this.
And we want to keep that conversation going with all of you. What part of this AI future excites you the most, and what part worries you? Let us know down in the comments. Because the one thing that's for sure is that just sitting back and watching is not an option.